Wah, wah. All right, here we go. Folks, again, you don't have to write this down on your own paper. Just look up here and you'll get to practice it in just a few minutes. So in Java, we have the usual mathematical expressions, and they're right here. So the little star, shift 8 is multiplication. The slash that's by the question mark is division. And then plus and minus, are up by 0. And you can use parentheses to make things happen. Java follows the order of operations. So like 5 times 2 plus 3, it's going to do the 5 times 2 first. And over here, it's going to do the 2 plus 3 first because it's in parentheses. So, and this is a kicker, and it'd be awesome if you could just learn it right now and then not make any mistakes ever again. But I promise you, many of you either are not listening or do not understand. But here's the deal: in Java, let's go for it. Let's have it be 100% today. If you take two integers and divide them, the answer will be an integer. So Java throws away the decimal part. So 5 divided by 2 isn't 2.5. It's just 2. That's because it's integers. So integers, remember, are whole numbers. Integers are positive and negative whole numbers and 0. So, well, we'll talk about it. Yeah. So Java's not rounding. It's just literally tossing the decimal. So, because normally you'd say 2.5. If I asked you in math class to round that, you should round it up to 3, or 3.0. But I think, isn't it 5 and higher? You round up. But anyway, we're not rounding. We're just lopping it off. So 5 divided by 2. Let me add another example. That would be even better. And maybe this will help. 7 divided by 14. What do you think that is equal to? Yeah, good. Thank you. That's the tricky one. You're like, it's a half, obviously. I know a half. I've been doing math. I'm not a 12-year-old. But no, it's 0. Boom. So, everybody, what's 50 divided by 43? Well, normally it would be 1 point some nonsense, right? But it's 1. I mean, 43 goes into 50 once, and then there's some extra, but we're just lopping off the extra. So that's a 1. 22 divided by 5? 4. 3 divided by 10? 0. I had a feeling that I gave all the answers at once, so I had to, would have been better if I did them one at a time, but there you go. I'm just going to fix this slide while I'm here. All right. Now, double math. Marcus asked, what happens if you use a double variable? Remember, we're just working with our primitive variables. If an expression contains a double, then the answer will be a double. So 5 divided by 2.0 is 2.5. And 2.0 times 4 is 8.0, not 8. And you can force integers to be doubles by just doing a 1.0 times. See this down here? Like if I wanted to do 5 divided by 2, let's say I was using variables that I knew were integers. I mean, you wouldn't really write 1.0 times 5 divided by 2 in your code, but you might say 1.0 times variable 1 divided by variable 2, which you knew were integers, but you wanted a decimal answer. Most commonly, if I wanted you to find the average of some numbers, look down here. This is the average of 10, 2, and 8. If we just did 10 plus 2 plus 8 divided by 3, that would be 6, right? Because this is 20 divided by 3. And if you're doing integer math, we're throwing away the decimal. You just get 6. Okay, but if I wanted the actual double value of a decimal of an average, then just saying 1.0 in front works great. Also, I could, if I put 3.0 here instead, that would work fine if I divided by a decimal number. Or if I was literally using these numbers, if I turned any one of these into a decimal, like 10.0, 2.0, 8.0, the answer would be fine. It's a little tricky, but you'll get used to it. We do a Google form today. There's 12 questions or 15 questions. And and it autocorrects, and you'll get whatever score you got. So if you got 8 out of 15, that's what you'll get. But you can do it as many times as you want. So I hope you'll do it until you get a perfect score. Yes.
Do doubles and integers talk to each other? Like if you were doing any kind of operation, would they mesh or no?
Yeah. So right here, this is an integer divided by a double, and this is a double times an integer. So yeah, you can put them together. And so if you had 5 plus 1.0, your answer will become a double because one. So anytime you have 2 or more numbers, if one of them is a double, the final answer will be a double. Yeah. Good.
Okay. Because you don't need. I just found you don't need to do 1.0. You could do 5.0 to still work.
Oh, sure. Yep. Okay, so now here's something that if you took my Python class, then you know about modulo. But if you're new to programming, it's totally fine. There's this symbol, the percentage sign, and that's a new operation. It's called modulo or modulus. What it does is it divides the first number by the second number and just gives you the remainder. I don't know who thought this up, and I probably ought to know, but so 11 modulo 2 or 11 mod 2 is equal to 1, because if you did 11 divided by 2, yeah, it goes 5 times, right? But we're throwing that away. All we care about is the remainder. So 12 mod 2 is 0 because 2 goes into 12 evenly. 17 mod 5 is 2 because 5 goes into 17 3 times, but the remainder is 2. And then this is a tricky one. When the second number is bigger than the first number, the answer is just the first number. Because look, 5 doesn't go into 4. It goes in 0 times, and there's a remainder of 4. So, I mean, I don't know. You just have to practice that one. Questions? So the equals sign, everybody, we call the assignment operator. That's because in an expression like this, int x equals 7, that's saying, hey, Java, we're going to put 7 into x. So we're assigning a value to something. And the second line, x equals x plus 1, that's saying, hey, we're going to replace what's in x with 1 bigger. That's called the assignment operator. We can just say equal sign. It's fine. But a little later, when we compare two values, we're going to use 2 equal signs. And I don't know what they call that. Hopefully I have it in my slide deck on that day, comparative operator or something. Okay, so we're going to practice. We have a day 4 1.3 practice. I'm giving you some variables, and I'm asking you to do some little bit of math to make it all work out. And then, so I'll pause. Okay, so we've got another new thing. It's called compound operators. So we'll start with the most common one, plus equals. So plus equals, it means add 2 to that variable, or add whatever number is after, sorry, to be clear. So here's an example. I make an integer x, I put 5 into it, and I say x plus equals 2. That's the same as saying x equals x plus 2. So when I run this code, it prints a 7. So plus equals, I mean, it looks cryptic, but you just have to remind yourself, that's just adding 2 to the variable that's on the left. Yes?
I'm assuming minus 2 will also work.
Indeed. We have minus equals, times equals, divide equals, and even modulo equals. So if b is equal to 5, b minus equals, it's going to print 2 because 5 minus 3 equals 2. And then if I do divide equals, just running along, 2 divided by 2 is 1. And if I go times equals 5, then we're going to get a 5 because 1 times 5 is 5. And if at that point I do modulo equals 4, it prints a 1 because 5 modulo 4, if you divide 5 by 4, the remainder is 1. So I know that's a lot to take in. There's another special operator that's just plus plus, and that just means add 1 to the variable. That's instead of having to say plus equals 1, you can just say plus plus. So here's a little example. Int b equals 6, b plus plus, b is now 7. And you can also do minus minus. You can't do times times and divided divided, whatever. It's just plus plus and minus minus. Plus plus means add 1. Minus minus means take away 1. Yes?
What if you did 3 plus something, would it add 2?
I don't think it would allow you to do that, but you could try. So if you want to add 1 to a variable, you have 3 choices. You could say, like if I had a variable called num, you could say num equals num plus 1, or you could say num plus plus, or you could say num plus equals 1. You can't do this. You can't say num equals num plus plus. So don't ever put the plus plus into an equation with an equal sign. It just sits on a line by itself, or sits somewhere by itself, but it's not part of an expression with an equal sign. So like you wouldn't say, you just would never say some variable equals some other variable plus plus. Don't do that. The weird thing is Java lets you do it, but it won't do what you think, and it's wrong, and you'll get the problem wrong, and it won't be working properly. So and I already mentioned we have minus minus as another operation. So there's going to be problems like this on our practice Google form. So everybody, I'd like you to look up here and try to work this out. Don't say the answer out loud. And you don't have to do it in your head, but you can. Just, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to figure it out too, because I don't remember what it is. But there's an answer here. So don't say it out loud. I'd like you to hold up, in front of you. How many fingers? Good, Austin. Yeah, Sam. Yes, David. Yeah, you can put your hand down after I. What do you got, AJ? Yep. Yeah, Johan. Yeah, anyway, I see enough now. It's 4. 4. I'll walk you through. Start at 5. Now we're 6. Divide by 3 we're at 2. We add 8, we're at 10. Divide by 2, we're 5. And subtract 1, and we're 4. So on the AP test, there may be, one multiple choice problem that has something like this, and you get to write on your paper. You can just, like if I give you anything on paper like this, my advice is write down every step, right next to it. You don't have to do these things in your head. I asked you to do this one in your head, but there's my little. Oh yeah, and then what happens? What's it if I add this one? We know we were 4. Yeah. No. No. This is 4 modulo 7. Good, AG. Which is 4. Remember, when the second number is bigger than the first number, the answer is just the first number. If I did 7 mod 4, we'd have 3. Because 7 divided by 4, it goes in once, and there's a remainder of 3. But anyway, it's all new. So I'm going to post a Google form to. I say to wrap up today's activities. I think I'll probably find something else for you to work on in a minute. But it'll be awesome if you get a perfect score the first time. But be careful. Remember, integer math, you just learned some things. 5 divided by 2 is not 2.5. It's just 2. So you can use a scratch paper or do it in your